Hey folks, thanks for joining us on another episode of the Songbirds Radio Hour. I'm your host, Reed Caldwell, and tonight we're airing an Americana double feature recorded live at Songbirds Guitar and Pop Culture Museum back on May 6, 2023. On tonight's program, we'll hear a few songs from Buffalo Nichols, then a short set from Sunny War, and finally we'll wrap up with a brief interview and Q&A session with both of our guests. Before we get the music started, however, I'd like to talk about Americana music in general. For example, what is Americana music? Why not just say folk or roots? What makes Americana different from the blues or country for that matter? By definition, Americana is an amalgamation of all these genres formed by the shared and varied traditions of the United States and its diverse musical landscape. But I'd like to take that a step further. I'd like to offer up an alternative colloquial definition, if you'll let me. Americana is music that makes you feel something deep in your soul, more than just an individual isolated emotion, more than just simple joy, sadness, or anger. It's a gut punch. Americana takes the emotional day-to-day experience of the human condition and makes it profound and relatable. The river that you swam in as a child becomes the symbol of America's redemption and salvation. The train that slowly passed through your hometown becomes a metaphor for progress and reform. Your own mother becomes the archetype for all nurturing feminine energy. To me, that is a much simpler way to look at Americana. With an emphasis on stringed instruments, it is the acoustic lifeblood of America, distilled from country, blues, roots, and folk. It is born from our shared experiences and crafted into cultural storytelling in a way that brings us all together. And if you've been following along on the Songbirds Radio Hour, you'll know that togetherness is our centermost theme. So, let's get on with the togetherness. We've got two artists on the Songbirds Radio Hour tonight, and they're ready and willing to test out my working Americana definition. First up, we've got Buffalo Nichols. Buffalo Nichols lived most of his life in Milwaukee, where he cut his teeth on the tail end of the growing Midwest punk and emo scene in the late 90s and early aughts. During that time, he taught himself to play and developed a unique guitar style and a voice of a storyteller. That voice is evident on tunes like Lost and Lonesome and his latest, Meet Me at the Bottom. He has appeared on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and NPR's Tiny Desk series. Y'all give a warm welcome for Buffalo Nichols.
Here's a song I wrote called Life Goes On. We don't get along so well, the two of us don't see eye to eye. We must be under some old spell, makes it hard for us to even try. You're an angel without wings, trying to find them in a bottle of wine. I got a devil on my shoulder telling me it's gonna be just fine if I don't walk away. And you don't got nothing to say. Yeah, we can last another day, and life goes on. I must have given up somewhere, to tell the truth. I don't remember why. You don't tell me where you've been, you don't even see the need to lie. But if there's a way for you and me to give this thing called love another chance, Then let's go out tomorrow night, 'cause I still remember how you love to dance. So before you walk away, something that I need to say. Yeah, I still miss you every day. That life goes on. Before you walk away, something that I need to say. Yeah, I still need you every day. That life goes on. I wanna grow old with you, baby. The way we live, we may not last that long. I hope I go before you do, although I know you'd hate to be alone. But if I should pass away, don't fall on your knees and pray. Just know I'm gonna be okay, and life goes on. If I should pass away, don't fall on your knees and pray. Just know you're gonna be okay, and life goes on.
Wasn't that fun? Thank you.
This Songbirds Radio Hour was recorded in front of a live audience on May 6, 2023. If you would like to attend a future Songbirds Radio Hour, you can book your free tickets on songbirdsfoundation.org.
I started playing this song like 10 years ago, thinking, oh, maybe I'll add it to the set tonight, playing at some restaurant. And then one day I woke up 10 years later, still playing the same songs. So one of these days I'll take a break from all this playing and learn some new songs. Thank you, that really boosted my energy.
Go dig a hole in the meadow. Go dig a hole in the ground. Go dig a hole in the meadow so I can lay darling Corey down. The last time I saw darling Corey at the edge of the deep blue sea, she had a 44 around her and a banjo on her knee. Wake up, darling Corey. What makes you sleep so sound? Revenue officers coming, gonna burn your still house down. Go away, darling Corey, quit hanging around my bed. Your whiskey has ruined my body, pretty woman done gone to my head. Wake up, darling Corey, and bring to me my gun. I ain't no man for fighting, but I'll die before I run. Last time I saw darling Corey, she had a 44 in her hand. Said I'll kill that revenue officer before I let him take my man. Can't you hear those bluebirds singing? Don't you hear that lonesome sound? Corey's funeral as they lay her in the ground. So go dig a hole in the meadow. Yeah, you can go dig a hole in the ground. Go dig a hole in the meadow so I can lay darling Corey down.
Hey, everyone listening at home, I just wanted to let you know that you're listening to the Songbirds Radio Hour here on WUTC, and we appreciate it.
I've only got room in my head for about 3 or 4 songs, so I have to get rid of one of them, but I'll keep that one. I'm gonna play one more song. I'm Buffalo Nichols. This one actually is a blues song. It's a song about forgiveness. Y'all be nice to each other. Actually, it's not about forgiveness. It's about empathy. There's a difference. You can understand why people do things without tolerating it or forgiving it. Sometimes you gotta make room in your heart so you don't have to carry someone else's problems.
You know a pretty girl will make you do ugly things. I smoke cigarettes and buy diamond rings. I know I'm not a heartless man, but there's some things I hardly understand. There's one thing you did was good for me. You showed me things that I just couldn't see. You made me realize I do need love. And even though in the end I wasn't good enough, oh, the way you hurt me showed me how to love. The way you hurt me showed me how to love. I sold everything I had and bought a lie. There ain't a powder or a pill could ever get my hopes this high. But a life of sin, it brought me to my knees. Love could have been the cure, but your love was a disease. And the way you hurt me showed me how to love. The way you hurt me showed me how to love. The way you hurt me showed me how to love. Oh, the way you hurt me showed me how to love. Well, I hardly recognize you anymore. It's been so many years since you walked out of the door. And now I see that you could hardly hurt a fly. The way you treated me was wrong, but I know the reason why. 'Cause the way they hurt you showed you how to love. The way they hurt you showed you how to love. The way they hurt you showed you how to love. Oh, the way they hurt you showed you how to love.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, let's give another round of applause for Buffalo Nichols. Thank you for listening to the Songbirds Radio Hour. Up next, we have Sonny War. Sonny War is a blues/folk/punk guitarist who is known for using a very unique claw hammer technique. She has released 4 albums. Her most recent is Anarchist Gospel, that if you haven't listened to, I highly recommend that you do that today. Right after this show's over, go and play that album. Excellent. She's also been featured in Spin Magazine, Rolling Stone, NPR's Tiny Desk series, and more. So, once again, please help us welcome to the stage Sonny War.
Stay and I can't leave. For the old me I grieve. Love's a thief and love's a crook. Love's a thief and love's a crook. Love's a thief and love's a crook. I'm feeling way worse than I look. Whoa. I can't shout. All that I knew I now doubt. Love's a villain, love's a pill. Love's a villain, love's a pill. Love's a villain, love's a pill. My heart is racing, my body is still. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't breathe, but I can't quit. Death of me was in his kiss. Love is heaven, love is hell. Love is heaven, love is hell. Love is heaven, love is hell. Love is prison, he is my cell.
You're listening to the Songbirds Radio Hour here on WUTC.
I just wanted to say that I heard that Agent Orange is gonna play here, and that was my first show I ever went to. When I was I think I was 13, and they played somewhere in California, and I was really drunk for my age, but it was really fun. This song is called Got No Ride. Didn't want the rain till my body was on fire. It was cold here when I came. Now I'm burning with desire. You couldn't tell me when I was small. You can't tell me now I'm grown. Take any trick, don't care how tall. Bring the firewood back home. Bring the firewood back home. I gotta walk, cause I got no ride. From the ashes I must rise. Turn the flame that burns inside. Turn my pain into my pride. Turn my pain into my pride. Didn't want the air till my lungs were full of smoke. Don't want your thoughts, don't need your prayer. I want action, not just hope. I've been screaming at a wall. I make you fall all on my own.
skinny tree, don't care how tall. Bring the firewood back home. Bring the firewood back home. I got no right. From the ashes I must rise. Turn the flame that burns inside. Turn my pain into my pride. I gotta walk 'cause I got no right. From the ashes I must rise. Turn the flame that burns inside. Turn my pain into my pride. Turn my pain into my pride. Turn my pain into my pride. Turn my pain into my pride.
You're listening to the Songbirds Radio Hour here on WUTC.
I forgot what I was gonna play. Cause I was thinking I should have wrote it down on a piece of paper, but I thought I could memorize it, and then there's something I was gonna play I forgot. I didn't have to say. I shouldn't have said that. My bad. This song is called His Love. I'm his fool, and he knows. It seems his love just fades away as my love grows. What I wouldn't do, nobody knows. Certain soul, his love fades, my love grows. His love fades, my love grows. He's my dream, my heart, but we're closer to the ending than the start. It's all out true, nobody knows. Certain soul, his love fades, my love grows. His love fades, my love grows. He hates me the most, but somehow he still insists that I'll stay close. A tear for me, he'll never know. Certain soul, his love fades, my love grows. His love fades, my love grows. His love fades, my love. His love fades, my love. His love fades, my love. I think I'm gonna play one more, because I don't know how long I was playing. So, well, I think I'll play 2 more songs. All right. This song is called No Reason. Good intentions that you keep don't change the fact that you're a beast. Better than most, to say the least. Imperfect man-made masterpiece. You're an angel, and you're a demon. Ain't got no rhyme, ain't got no reason to know you well, but I can bet you did some things that you regret. The ones you love most, you upset. You haven't got forgiveness yet. 'Cause you're an angel and you're a demon. Ain't got no rhyme, ain't got no reason. You bust your back trying to behave. To your best self you are a slave. You can't sleep in the bed you made. Till you let go and finally cave. 'Cause you're an angel and you're a demon. Ain't got no rhyme, ain't got no reason.
You're listening to the Songbirds Radio Hour here on WUTC.
This is my last song, and it's called Whole. And thanks for having me here. Don't you work yourself to death. Take a break from the man-made hell to catch your breath. Today could be the last you know. Happy's how you ought to go. No pain could ever buy your soul, ever make you whole. And don't you fake no smile if it ain't true. Chris said, I'm shit, he said, but you're the only you. Today could be the last you know. Happy's how you ought to go. No pain could ever buy your soul, ever make you whole. Don't you worry, child. Don't hold no stress. Don't let nothing steal your smile. This world's a mess today. Could be the last you know. Happy's how you ought to go. No pay could ever buy your soul, ever make you whole. And don't you waste it, babe. Don't waste no time. Protect your heart and soul. Protect your mind today. Could be the last you know. Happy's how you ought to go. No pain could ever buy your soul, ever make you whole. Today could be the last you know. Happy's how you ought to go. No pain could ever buy your soul, ever make you whole. Today could be the last you know. Happy's how you ought to go. No pain could ever buy your soul, ever make you whole.
You've been listening to the Songbirds Radio Hour. Our guests this evening are Sonny War and Buffalo Nichols. If you only caught the last bit, you can stream the full episode on our website, songbirdsfoundation.org. For now, we're going to move on to the interview and Q&A session of our program. I want to start out talking a little bit about your influences. I think it'd be cool, since we're a guitar museum, it'd be cool to talk a little bit about your guitar styles. You both have like super unique guitar styles. Maybe talk a little bit about how you got started on the guitar. Like what was your first guitar? And when you got your first guitar, what was your thought? Like what were you thinking about? How did you get to where you are now from there? That's a long story. You can tell a short version of it.
Yeah, I'll go first if that's all right. I played guitar. My older sister had an acoustic guitar that I started playing. And then when I wanted to start playing music seriously, I started playing bass because I wanted to play in a band and everybody already played guitar. So I played bass for a little bit. But then, I started taking music more seriously and just kept playing guitar. I had to travel back in time to answer this question, so I've forgotten the question. Can you ask it again?
Yeah. You went all the way back in time so far. You just it's like this moment never happened. Yeah, I was just talking about you just talk a little bit about how you got started in music. Talk a little bit about your first guitar and how you kind of got to where you are, because your style. Just talk a little bit how your style became the way it is.
Yeah, I started playing guitar I think most people now are learning through YouTube and the internet. And when I started, you could learn some things on the internet, but there wasn't this huge catalog of music available on the internet. So most of what I learned was just from listening to albums. And I had an acoustic guitar. And most of what I was listening to was electric music. So that was the first thing that kind of gave me my own style, or started making me curious about the instrument, was figuring out how to make this guitar sound like that guitar when it wasn't supposed to.
What specific are you trying to imitate? Who? Eric Clapton, Hendrix? Are you got somebody that's more specific?
Yeah, I think definitely it was like Jimi Hendrix and Johnny Ramone. That was the two big ones for the beginning. And yeah, and still to this day, I'm trying to play electric guitar style on an acoustic guitar. So that kind of the foundation for me.
Yeah, cool. We're going to come back to that in a minute. So, what about you?
My first guitar was like a no-name nylon string classical guitar, because my mom didn't know if I was really gonna play it or not, so she just kind of got the cheapest guitar she could find at a pawn shop. And also her friend told her that was easier for kids to play, like a nylon string guitar. So
Maybe. It depends on how wide the neck is. Was it like a big wide classical guitar neck?
The guy that told her that was like a heroin addict, so I don't really know. But he was a great guitar player, so I guess she was like...
Oh, the influences we have in our
Yeah.
lives, right?
So I had that guitar for a while, and then I think when I was like... I want to say when I was like 12, she had another friend that gave me a Takamine acoustic. So that was like my first steel string guitar. And then I had that for a while. And I didn't really get a guitar that I wanted probably till I was like in my 20s, like where I could really like try to buy my own guitar. And even that wasn't great. I had like an Epiphone Harmony, which wasn't great, but it was the best thing I could get for myself at the time. So I only started liking my own guitar like recently, you know?
Right.
Where I could choose something I really want and maybe spend a little bit of money on it.
What are you playing now?
1989 Guild True American.
Oh, yeah, those are great. Got a big sound.
Yeah.
So, if you started out with the Ramones and Hendrix, how did you get? Because we were talking backstage, we were talking about musical styles and things like that, and I was saying that I kind of hear a little bit of like Peter Mulvey, who you said is from Milwaukee, and you're from Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. How do you get from the Ramones to the style that you're playing right now?
I think it's a pretty common trajectory. A lot of people start out playing punk because I think especially people like my age, who, like, I became aware of music, like my own taste in music in like late 90s, early 2000s, when, pop punk was kind of a mainstream music. And, it was just around the time when, it was pretty easy to hear like guitar music on the radio and things like that.
Yeah, you got like Green Day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like pop punk, Blink-182, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then anybody who, you start taking music seriously, and you kind of have to decide how punk you want to be if you want to like make a career out of music, because it's really hard to play that kind of music like long term and make a living out of it. So I think a lot of people start out doing that, and then they kind of shift quite often to like Americana and folk music, because it's a lot more convenient and it can be a little bit more mature, I guess, or it seems that way.
Yeah. So before we go to Sonny, I just want to talk to you a bit. So your management kind of pushed you in a direction of you're a blues artist. Talk a little bit about that, when we were talking about being on Fat Possum and how you kind of got this moniker that you've been trying to like combat, which we didn't do very good at helping you combat that earlier.
Yeah, it wasn't management alone. It was kind of the entire world. And I contributed to it as well, because I just wanted to play some blues songs. And I didn't realize that the way the music industry works is you have to kind of pick a box and fit into it. And I've not enjoyed doing that, because I just wanted to, play some blues songs maybe here and there, and then just write songs, be a songwriter. But the industry said, no, you have to be this thing. You have to fit in this category. So on paper and in the press, it's easier to or in a record store, it's easier to just say blues, and sometimes I go along with it. But whenever I get the chance to make the correction, I'll say like I just write songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
You guys both write powerful songs, which is great. Songs that people can relate to. Talk a little bit about your punk roots, and kind of, you were talking earlier about how your first show was Agent Orange. That's a great show. Mine was, I think, James Taylor, which is probably not as cool, but maybe it is.
I started out playing in punk bands also like as a teenager, and I still mostly only listen to punk I don't really listen to like a lot of like folk music or Americana music because I think it's boring. I don't really listen to that.
Except us, right?
I like hardcore, I like punk, and I like hip hop. I don't listen to like all kinds of folk music and stuff. And sometimes I get embarrassed because like at Americana or folk festivals, like other musicians try to have a conversation sometimes about certain like, I don't know, like banjo players and stuff like that. And I'm like,
you're getting accosted by banjo players. Oh my God, run away.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't listen to this type of music. Like, I'm not going to have a discussion about it with you. I don't know. To me, it's ironic. It's just for fun to try to play that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you do it well. I mean, I think that's what's great about the whole thing is it comes off as amazing. It's just a really cool style. It's very different. I feel like it's, but I get that. I mean, talk a little bit about how, I know I read somewhere, or I think it was an interview about you talking about how music kind of saved your life and helped you turn yourself around. Just talk a little bit about that, about your struggle and how music kind of helps you kind of get through some of those things.
I think like when I was like still actively using, I was like, also when I was a teenager, I was homeless, but I had to bust on the streets still, like no matter what, like to eat or to even to still buy dope at the time. So I was always forced to play guitar no matter what. And then eventually I was in a sober living and I was getting clean, but then all I had was my guitar, like just as emotional support. So I just didn't, it was like there in the bad times and in the times that I was trying to heal myself. And then I think like just being able to write songs and to have like, cause just playing is very meditative. Like if you're just playing by yourself, like I feel like anytime that you're going through a lot emotionally, like it can kind of put you in a trance and help you get through whatever feelings. So I feel like really like just playing guitar helped me get sober. And even now I use it when I have my little tantrums that I have every day. Sometimes I need to play guitar because I have anger problems and I need to just calm down.
Right.
So it helps me be functional, like act like a person or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's what guitar's for. We talk about that a lot here. We give away thousands of guitars, and we help kids with music therapy and things like that. And we talk a lot about the power of music, and I feel like sometimes like it's music's talked about in that way about the power of music so much it kind of gets glossed over. People are like, oh yeah, the power of music. I heard this before, but like when you see it actively happen, like you see somebody that can basically can't really cope with life without music or is able to change something that's deeply ingrained in them through music. I think those things are super powerful, and it really does. It's just a tremendous thing to see. You traveled a lot. Talk a little bit about your travels and kind of how that impacted you. You've been all over the place, right? And how that hearing different types of music and stuff like kind of gave you some, impact on your own music.
Yeah, I've always been interested in different music from around the world, and that was just something that I just absorbed as a musician, listening to different music from different parts of the world. But the main thing was, while traveling, I kind of got the sense that, the most valuable thing a person can have is like a sense of their culture. So I did learn a lot of different like styles of music, but the main thing I took away from like spending some time in West Africa and East Europe was, having cultural music doesn't have to be disposable. I think we treat it that way here, like it's old and it's no good. And there's a value in that too. I think youth culture as it is can really drive music forward by like actively rejecting the past. But I felt like the blues deserved or American folk music deserved a revisiting that was a little bit more interesting and less stuffy and historical and academic. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Well, we're going to get to an audience Q&A, but before we do that, just maybe tell us what you're each up to now, like what you're working on, latest albums, what you're about to do, where people can see you, hear you.
Yeah, I'll be. I think I have a new album coming. I think probably, and then I'll be planning my exit from the music industry. I'm retiring.
Retiring?
Yes.
Just for like, he's like, I'm gonna put one more album out. And I'm done.
It's an inside joke. Everybody likes inside jokes.
Oh,
right?
no.
That's what's up. I hope that I can also make a record and retire.
Yeah. Me too. Can I please make a record and retire too? I want to join the club. That sounds great. That sounds like an excellent club. What else you got going on?
I'm gonna just be touring forever until I die.
Yeah.
Because I accidentally already agreed to it, and I've been regretting it, but I have to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're joking, but this post-pandemic touring, well, touring in general, but especially right now, it's changed and it's really difficult, and everybody's struggling. But we all got to smile through it and say thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We run a venue. We know exactly what you're talking about. It's post-pandemic's been strange, and it's a weird place out there. So, I'm gonna open up the floor and let people ask questions. If you have a question. Alice has the mic. Just wait till it gets there, and then ask your question using the mic, and then we'll. These lovely people will answer your questions if they can, or if they choose to. Who's got a question? There's one right there.
Hi. So Buffalo, you mentioned that you definitely learned some techniques and styles via YouTube and the like. Any other kind of formal learning? And what about you, Sonny? I get the idea maybe that you're more just exclusively self-taught, but is that the case or not?
Yeah, the YouTube stuff came later, but no, never any formal training or anything, just learning them by ear. I've tried many times to learn music theory and try to be a well-respected musician, but my brain just doesn't work that way.
I think you're a very well-respected musician.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, thank you.
I learned by watching a bass player and a banjo player. So I knew them, but I didn't know any guitar players when I first started playing. I only knew a bass player and a banjo player. So I was just trying to do what they were doing on the guitar.
Doesn't everyone learn guitar from a bass player and a banjo player? It's like how'd you learn how to play the piano? It's watching somebody do construction work. It's I love that, but it's just like amazing. It's such like a far leap to me, my brain, when I think about like a banjo player and try to translate that guitar to guitar. It doesn't make sense, but it's awesome because it's like reflected in your music now. I feel like your style it does have some percussive like banjo stuff in it that's really cool and different. It makes it super unique. So that's amazing. What else we got?
This was kind of an aside to you, but I hooked onto that when you said touring after the pandemic or on the tail end of the pandemic has been weird. I'd like to hear more about that because I've always, as a musician and a performer and just as a study of human nature, I've always considered the sociology portion of music and how it connects us or how it divides us or the through line. Mm-hmm. So I'm just curious to know how it's changed for you and what your observations around that are.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's the financial aspect and people trying to make back money they've lost. And often the artist ends up being, one of the people that other entities try to make their money back from. But I think, and people's behavior has changed and things like that. But for me, the big difference was for the first time in a long time, just like doing nothing for many months and realizing that I kind of prefer that to whatever this is. So it's been hard. I think a lot of people are struggling with that, and even if they can't find the words for it, it's like your whole life changed, and you've been put into this rat race of trying to get further as a musician, and then you're forced to think about what's actually important. And I think being famous is not important to normal people.
Dang. I feel like everything's just way more expensive now, like everything. So like traveling is just more expensive to the point it was like barely possible before the pandemic, but now it's like, whoa, that's not what that flight used to cost. That's not what like gas used to cost. Like, so then it's for me, the hard part is trying to figure out how can it make sense, like, to even do it, especially when trying to have a band also. So I'm just trying to see if it's even possible. Because a lot of these tours, I'm just breaking even, and it's like I'm not bringing anything home. Like, the band is getting paid, like everybody else is getting paid. So I'm like at a point where I don't think it makes sense to do it anymore. And then I might have to just go get a job. But I think I might want a job for real, to be honest. I just need like a real job. Because this is not a real job.
Yeah, we're not supposed to say that out loud, but I agree.
I want to give me like a real job,
Yeah, well, you got one that's ready to retire and one that's ready for the workforce. So we're like, other questions? Got one here.
I'll give you guys a softball question. So what are each of y'all's 3 favorite punk bands? And Sydney, are you going to stay in Chattanooga or what?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I live here.
Yay!
She's in here. She's here with us now.
Yeah.
I think, as far as what I was playing when I was younger, it was kind of like on the crustier side. I like Napalm Death, and I guess they're grindcore, but they're like cusp grindcore punk. I like this band from Memphis called His Hero Is Gone. They're one of my favorites. And I like Wormrot. Shout out to Wormrot.
I think my favorite bands are Fat Brains and The Dicks and MDC.
Everybody got to get their Spotify out and make sure you make a new playlist of some great music. All right, well, y'all give another Songbirds applause for Sonny War and Buffalo Nichols. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah.
All right, we did it. In the world that we call life, really wanna feel whole. Never have, but soon I might.
Thanks to everyone listening at home. This has been a presentation of the Songbirds Radio Hour. Our guests were Sonny War and Buffalo Nichols. If you missed the first part of the show, you can check out a full episode on songbirdsfoundation.org. We'd love for you to attend a live taping of the Radio Hour. You can find out more about these events on our website at songbirdsfoundation.org. Hope to see you at the next one.
With you.
This episode was produced and written by Reed Caldwell. Live recording by James Snyder. Additional thanks to Victoria Sauer, WUTC, and of course, Sonny War and Buffalo Nichols. Directed and edited and mixed by John Dooley.